Testing, testing. Hello, Hux. Hello. Wahoo! Wahoo! Oh man, OBS has like a new ad thingy. like the colors are different and stuff. Hello, hello, Hux. Hello. We're gonna wait until the ad break gets out of the way, and then we'll get started. We'll get started. Whoa! Howdy, Matthew. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hello, Videhite. Yeah, get your stickers. Hello, Safuri. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm just waiting on the ad break, pretty much. Now we'll get started. We'll get started. Okay, I think we're back, right? I think we're back from the ad break. Maybe I should start setting up an alert that's like, alright, we're back from the break, just so I know. But I was also changing the stream title because I realized, like, I always try to make, like, a funny stream title or, like, a little hee-hee-ha-ha, but I was like, wait, the stream title doesn't actually describe what I'm doing, so... so I changed it. We're so back. We're so back. Cool, let me just mute so I can burp, and then we're gonna get into it. Give me a second. Burp. Okay, let's get into the classroom, shall we? 3, 2, 1, woo! Alright. We gotta rate it from 1 to 10. The burp? Or the stream title? Okay, let's put on some music. I have a playlist this time. Not one that I made myself. It's one of those like automatic Spotify ones. So let's get some chill vibes in here. Let's see if you guys can even hear it though. All right, it looks like there is a bar like in my sound thingy. Hello, Robbie. Hello. Thanks for dropping by. We're gonna be oh yeah, let's do the intro. So hello everyone. I'm Babinka Bear. Art historian, and Sunbear PNGTuber. And today we're doing some learning. We're doing some learnings, you see. I do gotta catch up on chat too, but yeah, we're learning about colors. Whoa, boom, whoa. Borp. I think Huxley said something, right? That you didn't take your nap. You didn't take your pre-stream nap, so you're woo. Oh no. And whenever you gotta tap out, whenever you gotta get some EP time in there, feel free. Don't feel guilty or nothing. Too busy crocheting. I was trying to find that artist that I told you about on my Discord. The one that, like, you know what? Like, remembering it, I think they're a knitter. Like, I think they're knitting, not crocheting. But it's so cool because it, like, their art looks like like, you know, computer gradients, but there's a little bit of glitchiness. There's a little bit of like imperfection in there, intentional imperfection. I couldn't find it though. I couldn't remember if it was like on my Instagram or like Twitter that I had this artist, but you know, maybe when I come across them again, I'll let you know. Learning on my internet, it's more likely than you think. The way I drank some coffees a few hours ago. Sounds so cool. Yeah, I hope I can find them again. By the way, so that intro that I do every stream, you know, like artist, historian, art historian. I don't know, lately I've been thinking of changing it. Would you guys be like, this is unfamiliar, I hate it, ah! And then you guys riot? Like, I don't know, I've been thinking of changing it because like it's not that any of it is untrue. I still am an artist historian and art historian, but I want something either a little shorter or a little no change. No change allowed. I dislike the change. I am that way sometimes though. I am very like, what? Slight change? I don't like it this way. I remember back in the day I used to watch this streamer, Cub Scouts. And I think he changed his, it was either his intro or his outro, and I think it was because he swore in his original outro. I'm gonna swear, word of warning to the Babin Cubs, cover your ears. Your little ears. I think he used to say like, oh no, you know what? It's his intro when he goes from chatting to like playing a video game. So he says like, "Oh, what's up, guys? It's Cub Scouts. Get ready and buckle the fuck up, and let's get to it." Like he used to say something like that, but he eventually changed it to something like, "So let's get ready to buckle up." Like he still says the same thing, but just without the F word, right? And I remember at the time I was like, I don't like this. I like the old one better. But I think it was probably just for, like, I guess more accessibility. So he'd have more people, like... Oh, you know what? I think it's because YouTube... Didn't they have, like, a new rule that's, like, if it's within the first, like, 30 seconds, you can't be swearing or something like that? I forgot. But but I remember being that person of, like, I don't like the new version. I like the old version. Swearing? How dare. It's your boy, Dr. Gladiator Axel Serios here. Yeah, okay, so like I have been thinking of changing my intro just a little bit. I was thinking something like, you know, it's your friendly neighborhood art history teacher, you know, because I realized that my intro doesn't have the part that I'm an educator, that I'm your teacher. It has artist historian, art historian, and like and Sunbear PNGTuber, and I was like, it'd be too wordy if I was like artist historian, art historian, educator, and Sunbear PNGTuber. So I was thinking something like, you know, friendly neighborhood art history teacher or art teacher or something like that. But then it leaves out the part that I'm a Sunbear. So I'm still workshopping it. But just know that in the near future, I might change it. She's rapidly approaching your neighborhood. That's my new intro. It's like, what's up, guys? I'm rapidly approaching your neighborhood. Let's get to it, shall we? I was like, when I think of like friendly neighborhood, I was like, is that what Yogi Bear says or no? Is that? I think that's just like a general thing. Sunbear, our teacher in your neighborhood. What's up, guys? It's Babinka Bear, Sunbear, art teacher in your neighborhood. That makes me seem like a stalker. I'm fastly approaching your location. I'm outside the door. You just hear, like, knocking sounds. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Oh, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I was like, Spider-Man. Bear in area. What's up, guys? I'm the bear in the area. I'm in your area. Your Uber art teacher is outside. Have you guys seen the meme that's like this person getting like a random text and it's like, I'm here for you, and the person's like, oh, I don't remember who this is, but thank you, and the person responds with like, no, this is your Uber, I'm literally like here to pick you up. Okay, babe, we just got some picnic baskets. Yeah, that is Yogi Bear. Hey boo boo, let's go get some picnic baskets. Don't ask from who. I'm the bear in area. My arrival was foretold by ancient street sign. And I just showed that piece of art that I made. My arrival was foretold in ancient murals. Like, that would make my intro even longer, but also funnier. So yeah, I was also thinking about changing my intro because like I have my current intro in my like Twitter bio, but I'm also running out of characters. Like I'm running out of like letters to put in, and I want to put stuff like, you know, like so far. What do I have so far? What do I have so far? I have like you know, my name. I actually started using my nickname more, BINKA. I like being referred to as BINKA more often now, so I put like BINKA, my pronouns, art historian, Sunbear PNGTuber, my art tag, and then like credits, right? So I don't know. I'm still workshopping it. Well, we'll see. I feel like one of my weaknesses is like not being wordy. Like, or rather, like, yeah, my weakness is that I'm too wordy all the time. Like, remember when the series used to be called You Can Be an Art Historian, and I changed it to BINKA Teaches Art Appreciation? It's like the same amount of words. It's just that it's a little bit more accurate to what I do teach, right? It's like I don't know how to make like snappy little, you know, titles that are less than 5 words. You will learn. It is inevitable. You will learn or else. Interesting lore expansion. The Sunbear's teacher arrival was foretold in prophecy. It's just like a warning sign about sun bears in the area. Except this one teaches you things. This one teaches you art history and art appreciation. Oh gosh. I mean, it could be worse. It could be an isekai title. I mean, that is part of my actual lore, is that I got isekai'd. A little Easter, well, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but if you guys are in my Discord and you go to, About Bibinka, I like add to it every so often. I add like my lore, I add like my likes and dislikes, I update my Oshis every so often. I update like my credits for like who makes like fan art for me and stuff. I also have at least one affiliate. It's for beans. But yeah, my lore actually is that I got isekai'd from like a bear universe, you know? I think I expanded on it like with Beans one time. Like we were just chatting and we were like thinking of like if we continue the lore, it's like, oh, every time you see like another bear PNG or VTuber or like a fictional bear that like talks and stuff like Yogi Bear, that's another person that got isekai'd. But for other VTubers, like for example like Viteheit, I don't want to like impose my lore on them, right? Like so I think we were thinking of just using it on like, oh yeah, you guys know Yogi Bear? He's actually from our universe. He was a baseball player. Like, I don't know why suddenly he's like getting picnic baskets in your guys' world. Art ear, yeah. I'm teaching art over here. Art ear. You could always just shorten it to BINKA Teaches. That's true. BINKA Teaches, and then it's like a, you know, it's a new thing every time. So like I'm still continuing the art appreciation series, but once I finish this series, it'll be like BINKA Teaches Egyptian mythology. BINKA Teaches Filipino dances. BINKA Teaches how to be lazy. Lore, yeah. If you guys want a review of the lore, it's that me and Beans are from a bear dimension, and then we wanted to take a bearcation. We wanted to take a vacation over to the Bahamas, but when we were flying over the Bermuda Triangle, our airplane malfunctioned. We had to make a water landing, and then when we you know, we're all in the raft and stuff. When we finally got back to shore, it's full of like these weird, like naked, like primate people called humans. And we're just like, you know what, we'll just live here, I guess. But you know, like very many VTubers and PNGTubers, I don't actually stick to my lore often. Like I feel like I make pretty liberal use of like, oh yeah, when I was at college, you know, like, you know, I don't really like stick to the lore that much. BINKA teaches non-art things like how to file your taxes. That's a terrible idea. That's like, I'd be like, do you have a W-9? Okay, what I'm gonna need you to do is go to Google and Google how to file a W-9. You work for a nonprofit? Did you ask them about the W-2? Like, and then I just start crying. I just start crying because I don't know how to file taxes. I just get someone else, or like, we actually like have someone else do our taxes. I used to use those like online services, but they started to charge way too much, so yeah. Are the Cubs in Bear World? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Maybe it's one of those things where like Bear World isn't like, you know, it's like Digimon where like you can go back and forth between, you know, the human dimension and the bear dimension. So when you guys are Babin Cubs, you're in the bear dimension. So then that means I wasn't isekai'd after all. I don't know. Like, so your lore's Planet of the Apes, but it's humans? Yeah. Bears can have college. It's true. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I guess it's like I make references to like my very... No, actually... No, you're right. You're right. Like... Hello, Clyde. Hello. Welcome. We were just chatting about like I was thinking about like changing my intro, but then it went into like my lore as a PNGTuber. Sometimes I feel like I should have expanded my lore, but there's also something to the simplicity that I have at the moment. Me too. I like as much as I want to expand on it, it's also like really convenient to just be like, oh yeah, I'm from a bear dimension. That's it. And to always say that we were flying over the Bermuda Triangle, right? Because I don't even think that's a thing anymore. Like, do people still talk about the Bermuda Triangle? Because remember when I was growing up, that was like, you know, the center of mystery was the Bermuda Triangle, and so many of these airplanes like crash over the Bermuda Triangle. So like, you know, and it's a part of like, you know, Looney Tunes would mention it, all these like older cartoons would mention it, but I don't actually know if like, does the newer generation, like, do they know about like the craziness about like the Bermuda Triangle? Is that still a thing, you know? It's like the nether portals. Just leave the rest of your lore in the item descriptions. Yeah, there you go. Do the Elden Ring thing. Do the Dark Souls thing. I just leave little bits of lore in there. The lore's just that I'm from a bear dimension. Only in Civilization games. Oh man. Yeah, that's what I want. Do the kiddos know? Do they know about the Bermuda Triangle? What about the Bermuda Triangle? Do they know about that? I think that's the real question. We thought a lot of actually relevant stuff would be actively dangerous, like Bermuda Triangle and quicksand. Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, yeah, apparently quicksand isn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. The lower is the loading screens when you go on ad break. Oh my god, I just like insert little things. Like, I just put like, I'm a resident of Los Osos. I went to the California State University. Easy to lose your bearings there. It's true. It's true. See, Clyde gets it. All right, I feel like I should start soon. Should I? I should stop stalling for time. It's already been 20 minutes, and I put a lot in this presentation because I like color a lot. It's very fun to talk about. There might be some boring parts in there, but you know, bear with me. Bear with me. And if you guys have any artists that you think that like use color in an interesting way, do let me know. I'd be down to check it out. But because of the sheer amount of slides that I put in here, I feel like my voice might give out near the end. But let's see. Dude, I thought piranhas were gonna be a bigger deal. Me too. Yeah, same. Hugs. Piranhas, quicksand, the Bermuda Triangle. All these things we thought were like super dangerous, right? Well, I still don't know about the Bermuda Triangle, but yeah, right. All right, let's go ahead and get started. You know what? Let me take a sip of water, and then we'll get started. We're gonna talk about colors. Boom! Whoa. Piranha. Wait, what? Why is piranhas? Why did Automod say that piranhas is banned for misogyny? Like, that's crazy. Is that slang? Is piranhas like slang for some kind of like anti-women thing? Twitch hates me. Oh no. I remember hearing loads about earthquakes, and growing up in the UK doesn't do those. Well, I grew up in California, where it's definitely a thing. Actually, here's a little bit of lore since we're on the topic. My first memory is of an earthquake, so it was like a pretty big one too. So time to check Urban Dictionary. Oh no, yeah, that's kind of strange. I didn't. It's one of the things where it's like I didn't know that was I guess a misogynistic thing until Automod told me that it was. But yeah. I would never. Yeah, I know. No, yeah, my very first memory is of an earthquake. I was but a cub. Learn something new every day. Alright, and let's get into it, shall we? So, we're going to be talking about colors today. We're also going to be looking at an artist that I really like. They're a Filipino artist. Their name is Vicente Manansala. A Brazilian, a depreciating word meaning B-word, hooer, and harlot. Oh man, I did not know that. I actually did not know that. That's crazy. So I guess it's Brazilian in like in origin. Brazil. Okie doke. Thanks for looking that up. Thanks for educating us. And no worries, Hux. I understand. All right, let's look at some colors, shall we? All right, so let's do a little bit of review. So the past few lessons we talked about lines, shapes, forms. You don't have to pin it, Matthew. That's quite all right. So yeah, we went over lines, shapes, forms, and I think last time was shading. It was like value and shading, right? Thank you, Matthew. That was kind of funny though. It was like, oh, okay. But yeah, so lines and shapes, just to review, things like straight lines, horizontals, those are like stability, solid things. Round shapes and curvy lines, that's for like comfort, cuteness. Zigzags and sharp angles, that's danger zone. That's the danger zone. And then these aren't hard and fast rules, right? But these rules can all be broken. With anything in art, any kind of like rule that I give you, it can always be broken in interesting ways. Even in this one, we're going to be talking about color, and we're going to be talking about like, oh, these are usually seen as warm colors. These are cool colors. Usually you want to do this and that. You can break these rules, but it's good to also know the basics so you know how to break those rules, So, oh my God. But education, it's true. It's true. It's an educational moment. Oh man, it's ginger root. I love ginger root. Look, I made a GIF. It took a while, but I learned how to make my own GIFs. So, a few lessons ago, we also talked about forms, which are basically shapes but 3D. Talked about like stuff like clay, stone, wood, how that kind of influences how what kind of shapes you can make. We also talked about like different cultures and societies. They value different things, so their sculptures or their forms might differ because of those societal sensibilities. So some cultures might like their art to be more stable, but then it's going to be kind of stiff. Other cultures might like it to be a little bit more dynamic, but then that means it could be delicate and easily broken. So once again, these are also rules that can be broken, or rules that like I am kind of focusing on like Western cultures, but there's plenty of other cultures that do it different, right? So, and then the last, oh yeah, this is the gift that I made. You like it? They can be broken in boring ways too. Art schools are to teach you that. It's true. Exactly, Clyde. Exactly. So I think I should also add that in my last slide, is like they can be broken, but that's the point of learning the basics, is to know how to break it in interesting ways. But yes, they can be broken in very boring ways as well, or ways that like don't help your development as an artist. So the last thing that we went over was values. So this is like the amount of light and dark in a work. And generally, it's good to have contrast, right? To be able to tell like, what are the darks, what are the lights. There are plenty of works that don't have a lot of contrast, but sometimes that's very intentional. Sometimes it's like, oh, you want it to be kind of like shrouded in mystery, or they're going for a certain look, right? Yeah, that time we talked about like shadows, highlights, and midtones, that kind of stuff. So now what we're going to be diving into, like I said in the beginning, is color theory. So a lot of this is going to be lifted from the guide that we made for Randon for his birthday. So a lot of the pictures are going to be from that same guide. You could say that it's a little lazy, but I was like, oh, since I already made some of these like these pictures for the guide, I might as well reuse them, right? Yeah, it's Schmoop, exactly. It's Schmoop. So I wanted to use Schmoop for like this little color wheel. This is I didn't write it down, but this is what's called a color wheel. They don't always have Schmoops on them. They don't always have little slimes on them, but you know, like a color wheel is basically a wheel with color, but the order that the colors are in does kind of matter. So typically, like you see it go from, and actually depending on your monitor, this might not look red. This is actually not really looking red to me. This is supposed to be red, I swear. But typically, when you like look at a rainbow or a prism, typically the colors follow a certain order, which is like red to orange to yellow to green, blue, purple, then violet. I remember as a kid, I didn't quite know the difference between purple and violet for the longest time. I think one of them is closer to blue. The orangey schmoop looks yummy like honey. Oh no, don't eat the schmoop. Hello, Gojikins. Hello. Color wheel spins rapidly inside the projector and causes colors to swap or flicker. When it runs out of phase, oh my gosh. Like, wait, is that legit? Because I don't know how projectors work. It's a dark pink. Oh man, I swear I'm not colorblind. I forgot to add that. So in the guide for Random, we have a whole section on color blindness, which is actually really interesting to think about, because there's this theory that a famous artist, Van Gogh, might have actually been colorblind. Some types used in schools do. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, whenever you guys have some factoids to share, feel free. But yeah, there's a color wheel, and like it is important to know at least the order. That's why sometimes people use the acronym, or it's not really an acronym. It's a Roy G. Biv. It's almost like a name. It's in the title of this stream. Roy G. Biv is like the memory trick, the mnemonic device to remember it. So like the R in Roy is red, then the O is orange, yellow, etc. So that's one way to memorize it. And the reason why it is important to kind of know the order is when you talk about stuff like color temperature, which we'll get to. But this is going to be our intro to color theory. It sounds like such a fancy term, right? Color theory. What are we theorizing? Are we philosophizing? Are we thinking real hard about the colors today? I'll try to make it more accessible as I can. But it's not, you know, when it says theory, it's not, you know, we're not going to be doing too much philosophy. It's just more of like how we perceive color, how we look at color, how we organize them into groups, and then how we use them in art. So it's kind of like an umbrella term for those kinds of things. But color itself, pretty self-explanatory. It's both simple and complex. An elementary student can tell you what a color is. It's like, oh, it's like red, orange, yellow. But if you ask that to like a physics student, or like, you know, someone that studies like light particles, that's when it gets really complicated. I remember when I was writing the guide for Randon, I was like, how do you actually define color? Because like, you know, it's one of those things that you already know as a young child. Like, get your stickers, everyone, get your stickers. It's something that you already know kind of inherently, right? But to actually define it, you start to like get into like physics stuff. You start to talk about like, oh, it's actually like what is reflected back because of light, stuff like that. That's when it gets pretty interesting. There's a difference between pigment and light when talking about color. Exactly. So I didn't get into all of that. It started to get a little too complex. So I didn't get into stuff like you're gonna hear terms like CMYK, RGB. I didn't get into that, but that is something to know. If you get into stuff like graphic design, if you get into like art and you want to like make prints of your art, or if you want to like make it go from digital to like traditional, those are actually really important. But I didn't want to go into that. Because for one, it's kind of too complicated for my small bare brain. But like, if I barely understand it, then I don't know if I can teach it, basically. So yeah, just a disclaimer there. You guys should look into CMYK and RGB and those things, but I wouldn't know how to get into that. It's something like one is better for digital, I think. Hello, Outermost Ghost. Hello, Ghosty. That was my jam back in the day. Oh man. Yeah, if you guys know anything about like CMYK and you want to like explain it in the chat, feel free. I'm not gonna stop you. But just know that that's kind of my weakness. That's where I kind of zoned out when I took graphic design classes. Like, I kind of zoned out. My brain went to mush. Print ink versus light bait. Yeah, exactly, Gojikins, exactly. Philosophical question, how would you describe blue to a blind person? Oh no, that's what this is the real color theory. The final battle begins now. I remember that's like, isn't that like an interview question for some companies? It's like, how would you describe purple to a blind person? We are actually going to get into that, by the way. Like, not how we would describe it, but colors do make us feel things, right? But, you know what? I think that's like 2 slides from now. So sit tight. We are going to get into that. I'm not ignoring your question. We're going to come back to it. You got to remind me. RGB is good for digital. CMYK is for print. Ah, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Ghosty. Thank you. Nice. There you go. See, that's also why I like doing these like educational streams, because like any blank spots that I can't fill in, you guys can also like contribute. How we perceive the colors. Yeah, like perceive just as a fancy way of like how we see it, how we like how our eyes and our brain sees it. Tangential but slightly relevant. Pictomancer has 2 sets of spells. Weaker goes red, blue, green. The stronger goes cyan, yellow, magenta. That's incredible. So it is RGB versus CMYK. That's crazy. How would you describe blue if you have synesthesia? That's the thing, I don't. Like, to me, blue is just blue. But I think I have seen like artists with synesthesia. It's those, if you guys don't know what that is, it's the people that like the way their senses, how do I say this? It's like their senses are kind of like intermingled, so they're able to like hear colors or smell sounds. Yeah, tasting words. Yeah, warble, orple. Warple. It's like that. So I think there are artists that are like, oh yeah, this is what I saw like a YouTube short while I was on the treadmill. It was like, this is how I hear Smooth Criminal, like, and they like did an art piece based off like what they heard. Or lights when hearing music. Yeah, tasting words. Exactly. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into colors. Some of this is stuff that a lot of people learned in like elementary school, but I'm learning now from a lot of my colleagues who also teach art education. I'm learning from a lot of my colleagues that like actually no, a lot of schools, you know, your mileage can vary. It depends on like where you go to school. This isn't taught as much anymore, but I think it is also dependent on like where you live, like your neighborhood, that kind of stuff. So just in case, even if a lot of you already know this, we're gonna go over it. So there's types of colors. This is one of many ways that you can like categorize colors. This isn't the end all be all. But you know, this is once again really helpful if you're getting either into art history or art. Why wouldn't it be taught? That's what I thought. Like, that's what I thought. But you know what? I think it's something like, it's probably schools that don't have a lot of resources. Like, because more and more, okay, I'm gonna get on my soapbox now. Hold on. I'm gonna get on the table for this. It's because of a lot of education, especially in Bear America, is like overemphasizing, you know, test scores, standardized test scores. So like, why are we this is not me saying, you're rotating me. Get back on the soapbox. Because there's this emphasis on like math test scores, science test scores, suddenly there's, oh, I'm floating. Suddenly there's not as much of a like, they're not emphasizing art, because for a lot of people they're seeing it as like, oh, it's kind of useless. Why are we teaching our kids this, right? if a school has a lot of resources, then yeah, they can teach both. They can teach science, math, blah blah blah. But they also have the resources like paint and art supplies to teach stuff like color theory, or beginner color theory at least. But for a school that doesn't have those resources, where it's like you either teach these kids science or we're not giving you money, then they're not hard pressed to teach those things anymore. So, you know, it sucks. That is kind of the current state of education, especially in Bear America. I don't think it's even just Bear America, but it, it's we live in a society. She's so tall. Where'd I leave off? It was taught to us when I was in school, but dropped in schools much later. Yeah. Painting is not encouraged. Exactly. So yeah, not the box of soap. I know we live in a society. But yeah, so basically, so here's one way that you can break up colors, and that's primary, secondary, and oftentimes you don't learn this unless you like go into art, or like you learn it in college, but tertiary. So most likely in school you might learn about primary and secondary. So primary is red, yellow, blue. These are colors that they can't be made up by other colors. They're kind of like, they're like the core colors, basically. I don't want a capitalism. Oh no. So yeah, just remember red, yellow, blue. These are your primary colors. These are kind of like the core colors. Hello, Mireille. Hello, I miss you too. How have you been? We're doing a little lesson. We're doing some educational streams on color theory, on how to appreciate art. Yeah. My dad's an artist, so I probably would have been taught even if my school didn't have. Oh yeah, so that too, right? So it depends on your background as well, if you have access to them. Oh no, your internet. Oh no. Am I missing any frames too? Oh no. Well, you let me know if there's anything I can do. If you want me to like go back and see or say something. People, these words don't even learn the word tertiary. It's true. Tertiary, if you guys don't know the word, it's basically if primary is 1, secondary is 2, tertiary is 3. It's like the third whatever the heck you're talking about, right? So so yeah. Frames are good? Okay, cool. Yeah, I do think that, like, I just saw this tweet about, like, ever since the pandemic, like, reading scores have also just been going down a lot. So it is a shame. So, but you know, if you're also just learning some of these words, no shame in that either. I know things I just forget the word for things. Oh yeah, no worries. I'm going to cry into a lean cuisine. Oh no, I kind of miss lean cuisine. Or not miss, like TV dinners, you know. Well, I still get like the macaroni from Trader Joe's, but yeah. Okay, so you got your primary colors. That's these 3 right here. If you combine those colors together, you get your secondary colors. So let's go ahead and move the slide. Hello, there you go. So you get, these are your secondary colors. So if you combine if you combine red and yellow, you get orange. If you combine yellow and blue, you get green. And if you combine blue and red, you get orpal. You get purple, you get purple. TV dinners are some good curry TV. Yes, Beans, he gets the tikka masala all the time. It always smells so good. Tikka masala. So, yeah, that's your primary and secondary. I can go back and forth between the... Can I? Hello? Why isn't it working? There we go. So primary, that's your secondary. And then tertiary is everything in between. So if you combine red with orange, you get red-orange. If you combine blue-green, you get blue-green. Right? So that's like another tier. But usually I feel like, especially in elementary school, you usually only learn about primary and secondary. Once again, you don't need to know this stuff. It's just like very helpful. Like if we're talking about art appreciation, where it's like, oh, I'm noticing a lot of tertiary colors, or I'm noticing we're actually gonna get into primary colors as a color scheme, because that's actually one of my favorites, is like primary color schemes. There's a lot of artists like Omina, for example, who I think uses a primary to really good effect. Twitch Poiple. Twitch Poiple. So yeah, those are some ways that you can categorize colors. This is what we were gonna get into. So remember before when we were talking about how would you describe blue to someone who can't see color or someone who can't see period? We're gonna get into that in a little bit. So colors have temperatures. They have temperatures. However, so I'm gonna make like an important distinction. This is how art sees these colors because there's always gonna be the person that's gonna be like, actually scientifically, blue is hotter than red. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. So red, orange, and yellow, they're usually seen in art as warm colors because they remind us of like a fire or like a sunset, right? Things that are warm to us, right? And then green, blue, purple, these are cool colors. These are often seen as cool colors because like we see them in like the ocean or ice. And it's funny because once we get into this conversation about science, that's when it gets kind of complex because technically water and ice don't have colors. They're transparent. And technically, actually blue is hotter. You know, if you take astronomy, then blue stars are hotter than red stars because blue fire is actually I should stop doing that voice. But yeah, like scientifically, if you see like a blue flame, that's actually hotter than a red flame. But it's so hot that like you don't encounter it as often as you see like a red flame, right? I think there's even like purple flames, right? Isn't there like certain minerals that if you ignite it, it makes like a purple or like a green flame? And that's how like medieval magicians and wizards and stuff, like that's how they would actually like do magic. They'd be like, oh, you have to believe in me, priest of Osiris, because I can make green flame. Ooh. And it's like they toss like some kind of mineral into the fire or something because it burns more efficiently. Red and orange are cured to impurity. See, there you go. That's sharing the knowledge. Thank you. I think that you'll find that pink does not exist on the spectrum. Oh wait, I think you'll find that pink does exist on the spectrum. That too. So, because that's another question is like, if red is warm and purple is cool, what's pink, right? Which is like kind of in the middle. Green is copper. Yeah, green flame. It's a thing. Wasn't that in Prince of Egypt? Yeah, I think it was when they're doing that song where they're reciting all of the gods and stuff. Yeah, I think that is how like, you know, I say like magicians and wizards, but like people that were able to kind of use these chemicals to their advantage and make it seem like they're doing magic, right? Just like me. Just like me. But yeah, so like those flames do exist, but strictly talking about like art and how we see art, usually these colors are associated with like this idea of warm and cool. Once again, this is something that like can be broken depending on the context. I think that was like a viral tweet a while back that talked about how you can use gray, and depending on what that gray is like surrounded by, the gray will actually look warmer or cooler. Warm versus cold gray. My nemesis in college. Magicians, priests, and school teachers. So yeah, like that matters too. I didn't have a slide for it, but like sometimes colors look a different way when they're surrounded by other colors. That was the whole what is it? The white, was it the gold dress versus the blue dress or something? Is the dress like blue or yellow? That thing that totally goes into stuff like color theory, but I didn't include a slide like that. We could look at it if we want, but later. Oh yeah, so individual colors can also be warm or cool. So let's take green as this example. So we have green over here on the color wheel. The green that's closer to yellow, it would be considered a warm green. Whereas the green that's closer to blue is considered like a cool green. So it kind of depends too. Usually, my line of thinking is the closer it is to red on the color wheel, then the warmer it is, but the closer it is to blue or green, then it's kind of cooler. This comes in handy if you like to shade using color, or you like to do like shading and highlights with color. If you do like a warm highlight, you want to do a cool shadow. Right? I don't think I have an example for that either, but it's one of those like, oh, this is just a little art tip we're gonna kind of look into it with something called hue shifting, but that's gonna come a little later. Those are some sick shades. Shinri was a wizard. He ate rocks to learn their secrets. As long as he didn't eat sulfur. Sulfur's kind of smelly. White with gold versus blue with... Yeah, that was... Oh, man. That was an interesting debate back in the day. I remember that's when I was working as a museum guard. I remember going up to my boss and being like, what color is this? And he was telling me, like, I swear that it's, like, white with gold. And then I didn't see it because I think I saw it as blue with black until I was on my phone and I minimized the pic. You know, like, if you're on your iPhone, you're looking at the picture full view, but then if you go to your gallery, it goes smaller, right? When it went smaller, it suddenly became white with gold, and suddenly I got it. I was like, oh, I see. This is some shit. Yeah, because he's the cool green. He's cool, you know? And this guy's warm. That's why he has, like, sweat. The scene in the abyss where he has to cut the correct wire, but due to the yellow light of the glow stick, they all look the same. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's another cool tweet that I saw where it's like this person had like a full, they had like sticks of different colors and they would go underwater to see how much, they would change underwater. Not that the color itself is changing. It's more that, the perception of the color would change. So when you get deeper and deeper in the water, the blue of that water would kind of like cover up the natural colors. I don't know if that makes sense. but it was a pretty cool tweet. I remember seeing it a while back. So yeah, not only do we have warm and cool colors, the colors themselves can also be warmer or cooler. So if we take another color, for example, let's take orange. I think so. This is orange here. This is the actual core orange. If it's closer to red, that's a bit of a warmer orange. If it's closer to yellow, that's actually a bit of a cool orange. So that's just an example. So yeah. With this in mind, now we're gonna be talking about like what happens when you put all these colors together. So that's when you make color palettes. So a lot of artwork is usually going to have a color palette of some kind. And a color palette is basically just a group of colors put together. And there's different kinds of color palettes. I'm going to go through just 3, but there's a whole bunch of other ones. So just really quick, I'm going to go back to this slide, but we're going to go over monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. Those seem like big words, but I'm going to walk you through it. Okay? So picture of the woman in red, which is done in different levels of pigment. Of the women in red. Oh no, not her. Which is only done different. Yeah, so that's what we kind of see in monochromatic. So there's this work isn't strictly monochromatic, but monochromatic means one color. Mono means one, chroma means color. So these are paintings with just kind of like one overarching color. So for this one, it's yellow. It's mostly yellow, but there is touches of green, so I am cheating a little bit. But as long as you get the point that like a monochromatic color scheme is one that is kind of just one color. However, you can have different, now we're getting into stuff like shades and hues, which I didn't really like prep for, but you can have different kinds of yellow, right? The background is a very light yellow. The vase and like the table is kind of like a very saturated yellow, and these flowers are a very dark yellow, right? So it's all yellow except for like the stems and stuff, but it's different kinds of yellow, right? And you also have your like your warm yellows, your cool yellows, like we talked about in this slide. So you can actually do a lot with just one color. Let's see. Thanks for the complimentary. My peanut brain is working overtime. Oh no! I'll try to let me know if you have questions, but I'll try to slow it down as much as we can. We have been had, gents. Oh no! I know we're getting into like college level stuff. I'm sorry. Now let's break it down a little. So, let's say that I give you an assignment. That you have to paint something, but using only one color, right? And let's say that you're allowed to also use the white of the paper as well. You don't have to worry about, using dark. Let's say you choose red. You don't have to worry about using dark red, cool red, warm red, all of those things. Not homework. No worries, it's not actual homework. It's just like, it's more of a thought experiment of sorts. So let's say that you can only choose one color. What color would you choose? Pixel art it is, Game Boy art, here we go. That's actually an excellent example. Like 1-bit pixel art where it's either like black or white. Like let's imagine that like you can only do like 1-bit pixel art, or you know, like I said, you can only pick one color. What color are you picking? You can answer in the chat if you want, but I'm also gonna talk about like colors. Sometimes they just give us emotions, right? Or sometimes they're associated with certain emotions. This isn't universal. I had to do some research for work earlier, cause what do I say without like doxing any information? Yeah, let's just say that I had to do some research on color for work. And different cultures will view different oh, Owen, hello. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. Welcome, raiders. Woo! You came just in time. We're talking about different colors of the rainbow. I was there with you for a little bit. You were playing it looked like Age of Empires but with beavers, right? Thank you for shouting out Owen. Yeah, you guys were playing, what was it? It wasn't Timberlake, it was Tim something. Timberborn, there you go. Timberborn. Yeah, Owen was playing this really cute game. It was it's like a city builder but with beavers. When you zoomed in, they were so adorable, the little beavers. But yeah, it looked like they had like their own houses and then like they could build stuff. They had like little tasks, kind of like the Age of Empires, like whoa. You got a boss. But they had like this little Animal Crossing style talking. It was like but hello Kurodaya, hello Cielo, hello Owen. Sparkly Cat Raid. Sparkly Race Cat Raid. Woo! Nice. We love an art history stream? Yeah! Timberborn, yeah. Not Timberlake. Of the Justin variety. No. Timmy Hose. Tim Hortons. It's so cute. Yeah, it was super cute. Yeah, hello, mechanics. Hello. Yeah, thanks for joining us. If anyone has to raid and run, if you need a little bit of rest, no worries. But if you also want to stick around, no problem. So far, we were talking about colors. Well, this whole thing is colors, but so far we went over things like color temperature. So like these colors are typically associated with like warmth. These colors are typically associated with, like they're called like cool colors, right? Because of how we see them in nature. So like red, orange, yellow, that's usually like fire. And then like purple, blue, and green, that's a little bit more like ocean-like. Even though we also talked about like, you know, scientifically, blue flames are hotter, that kind of stuff. But, and then we went into like how colors themselves can either be warmer or cooler. So, you know, this green that's closer to yellow is warm, and this green that's closer to blue is cool. Stuff like that, which you'll need to know for this next part. Not need to know. I'm not quizzing you or anything. It's not a quiz. It's not a pop quiz. But we're talking about color palettes now. We're talking about like if you see like a group of colors in a piece of artwork, that's known as like a color palette. And one kind of color palette is called monochromatic, as in it's only one color. We've been Rumble, she's assigning homework. No, I was just kidding. It's not homework. It's a thought. No, it's just a thought experiment. It's just a thought experiment. All right. Let's say that you had to make. Let's say that I was assigning homework, which I totally am not. You had to make a piece of artwork, but you could only use one color. What color would you pick? And the reason why we're getting into this is because colors can usually they're usually associated with certain feelings or emotions or like ideas, and it's not universal. Like if you ask someone what they think of the color red, their answer might differ from someone else, but it also goes like according to cultures. Trying to think of like a good example. Oh, so I just learned about this in Mesoamerica, in Maya like belief or culture. They saw yellow as the color of maturity and completion. And they saw the color green as the color of like newness, or not necessarily immaturity, but just like it's not ripe yet. And the reason why they that's a thing in Maya culture is because of corn. What color is a ripe piece of corn? It's yellow. But a lot of plants, or if we're talking about corn, like a lot of things that aren't mature yet are green. So that's why they had an association of like, oh, green is new, yellow is mature and ripe or complete. So that's pretty cool, right? Like if you ask someone else like what do they think of the color yellow, they might think something else. For example, like I put here like anxiety and caution. If you see like highlighter yellow, right? Like that's usually like a hey, pay attention to me because this might be dangerous, you know? So that's just one example of like how colors are kind of interpreted in different ways by different people, but also different cultures. I'm gonna go take big mimis. We'll catch up on class in the morning. Take care. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Homework, it's summer break. No, there's no homework. There's no homework. But yeah, good night, Hugs. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Subject based, sci-fi will go blue or purple. Fantasy will be reds or green. Ah, you know what? That's also a really cool way to think about it. Yeah, if you think about like, oh, isn't there that one movie, Midsummer? It's a horror movie, but it's like full of light, and usually horror movies are full of like dark colors and like black colors, because like usually that's the color associated with like mystery or darkness or supernatural stuff, right? That makes sense. Plants to flowers and fruits. Yeah, exactly. Reminds me of those Greek stories that describe the sky as bronze because they use the shine and not the color. That's really cool. That I didn't know. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because like that's another thing is like different cultures will also just like once again going back to Maya, there is no they distinguish between green and blue. So if you were to point at something green, they would know that that's green, and if you point at something blue, that's blue, but they actually use the same word for both. It's yash, or I think it's yash. I was supposed to know this stuff. If I don't know this stuff, I'm screwed. No, I'm not screwed. It's not, it's not like I'm gonna get fired, but like I'm gonna get embarrassed. I think it's yash, which is spelled like Y-A-X. So this word is Maya, or in Maya language. No, it's not Josh, it's Yash. It's pronounced Yash, like the X makes like a sh sound. And for the Maya, that just translates to blue green. But they could differentiate between green and blue because they have they have like paintings where there's like clearly green and then clearly blue. Was there also not a word for purple? In Maya, I'm not sure. Another thing, like that's another thing with purple is that purple is in nature, but it's hard to make a pigment of it. That's why it's usually associated with like royalty and luxury, because it's so rare that like in order to get it, you need to get like very specific snails from the Dead Sea or something like that to like harvest them, and that's how you make like purple pigment, right? I don't know if they had a word for purple, because sometimes some cultures will also absorb purple as like that also counts as like yash, as blue-green, right? Not the snails. I know, I'm so sorry. I think that's what I heard, is that like purple and blue are usually harvested, like the pigment is harvested from like snails. like very specific sea snails for some reason. Blue and green are also the same word in Japanese for a while, right? Like ao. Yeah, ao is blue. And I think eventually they got the word midori for green, but I think you're right. I think that initially they referred to green also as ao. There's actually a really cool I think it was Vox, that not Vox Akuma, but the channel Vox. About like colors and how different cultures. I found it. We're not gonna watch it, but I am gonna put it in the chat. It's like in different languages, how often do they distinguish between like blue or purple and green? A species of sea snail, yeah. I think in nature, blueberry provides purple for dye, and blue cabbage provides blue when reduced. That too, and then like I said, I keep on mentioning like Maya because that's what I was supposed to research. They used oh no, why am I forgetting? I just looked this up. What did they use for blue? I think it's clay with something else. Oh, it's indigo. It's indigo, which I think was like wait, is that a stone or a flower? It just gave me an airline. Never mind. Tyrian purple named after Tyre, Phoenicia. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like as we're talking about, like different colors like have different emotions associated with them. And it's not universal, but these are just some examples. So like red, sometimes it's associated with like passion, you know, romance, but also blood and rage and violence, you know. Orange can be warmth and happiness, but it can also be like a lot of energy. Yellow we talked about, of like it could be caution, but like for other cultures it could be like, oh, this is like completeness, ripeness. Oh, thanks for snoozing the ad. Thank you. Green, usually associated with like nature, life, growth, fauna. Series fauna of Hololive English. Blue, cool, calmness, but it can also be it's in art, it's a lot of times it's associated with like sadness, depression, stuff like that. And the purple we talked about too. So usually this is like royalty or luxury because it's so rare as a pigment, but it's also kind of rare in nature. But I don't know, I have a lot of purple plants in like in my neighborhood. So Indigo Montoya, you killed my snail. Prepare to die. I love that. Prepare to die. But yeah, so and this is one of Van Gogh's works, by the way. He's well known for using yellow very liberally. He really liked to use yellow. I even heard that he also tried to, I think, eat yellow paint, and a lot of it, people are like, oh, you know, it's because he really wanted to get the joy of yellow into his body. But then other people are like, that's because he was mentally ill. Like he was severely depressed, and like, yeah, maybe there was some kind of, you know, like inner thought process of like, you know, yellow is joy, I want to get it in me. But it was also, this is paint. If I eat this, things are gonna happen to my body. So I think it is a mix of things. It's a bit complex, you know. He's a very interesting figure. And if you guys are Whovians or Doctor Who, then you know that infamous episode that makes me cry every time. I love Van Gogh. It was the cadmium yellow. I don't know. Is that the yellow that's like kind of poisonous? Yeah, I don't know. I think it is connected to his. That ending is amazing. Yeah, I really like that ending. I always think of like, I always see it in GIF form, especially back when I was on Tumblr. Okay, so that's monochromatic. That's monochromatic color scheme. Now we're gonna get into another one called analogous. What this means is we're gonna go back. Let's go back to the color wheel. So if you're making an art piece and you want to use analogous colors, that basically means colors that are next to each other in the color wheel. So this orange, this yellow, and this yellow, and this green, that would be analogous, right? Or you could use like purple, red, orange, or you could use like blue, green, green. Those are all examples of like analogous color schemes. So it's a big word, analogous, but just think of like they're next to each other. They're hugging. Hello, Mega Bronson. Hello. So we have some ignore this for now. Ignore all this. But here's some examples. So like this orange. Actually, let me take a sip of my water. Oh yeah. I'm gonna read it all. Oh no. You're reading ahead. You're reading ahead. Okay, so these are some examples of analogous color schemes. So there's an orange, right? And then the background is green, but there's also some yellow in there. So like this counts as analogous because they're all kind of next to each other on the color wheel. Oh, we're gonna have an ad break. We're gonna have an ad break. You know what? I think this is good. This is a good opportunity for me to rest my voice. So we're gonna let the ad play. But I'm just gonna show this off and then we'll go into that ad break. So these are some blueberries. Blueberries. They're blue, green, and purple. These are all next to each other on the color wheel. Same with this apple. Apple. The shading is purple. The highlights are yellow. And there's also a little bit of brown. Brown does kind of fall into like, if you think about the color brown, it's actually kind of orange, but desaturated and darker. So this also counts as analogous. Excuse me. I'm burping a lot. Just a small voice rest. Let your voice have a seat and sit for a spell. Exactly. I will do that. I will. I guess really quick before the ad break starts, works that have analogous color schemes, they're a bit more unified. They feel a little bit more put together. Like it's not just that you color picked randomly. And then we're gonna get into the 60-30-10 rule when we get back from the ad break. Because I'm gonna rest my voice. I'm gonna be like yodele hee hoo. You can read it if you want. You can read it if you want. But yeah. And you can also admire this piece of work by Monet, by Monet. By Claude Monet. Claude Monet. Woman with Parasol. When's that ad starting? Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna extend the break a little bit. Claude G Money. I'm gonna extend the break a little bit. I'm gonna go to the BRB screen. Oh, there we go. There's the ad. There's the ad. Alright. You guys have some PE time. We don't have enough time for a boss battle or basketball, so we're gonna mosh. What do you mean I won the mosh pit? Oh no. Everyone's gonna think it's a rigged. Okay, I think we're back. I think we're back from the ad break. Let's go back to class. Maybe I should bring back the 3-minute ad breaks. Just so I can rest my voice too. But this is fine. This is fine. We're actually over the hump. We're almost over kind of like the very wordy parts. And we're gonna get more into like actually appreciating some artwork. Okay, last we were talking about analogous color schemes. So these are they're hugging each other on the what's it called? The color wheel. All right. There's also this thing called the 60-30-10 rule, which is more so like it's more of like a design thing, but it is also like an art thing as well. It's once again not a hard and fast rule. You can break it. In fact, I would argue that this art like breaks that rule. But what this means is that like if you use like let's say 3 colors, let's actually take this one as an example. You want one color to kind of be dominating it, and then you want another color to kind of be supporting it, but not as much. Like you don't want an artwork to be like half. Let's look at this one. Like you don't want it to be like half orange, half green, right? You might want it to be more so orange with like a touch of green. And then like that last 10% is what's known as an accent. So like it's just a little touch. It's a little splash of like another color to just kind of add some interest to the piece. So actually this is a bad example. Let's go back to the actual art piece here. Arguably this does break that rule because it almost feels like the work is equal parts green and blue, because you got like the green here and then you also got the green in the umbrella. So you could argue that like maybe the blue is the 60%, because the lady is also like her clothes are actually white, but they're kind of reflecting the blue. So let's say that it's like mostly blue, and then there's also like 30% green, like in the grass and in her umbrella. And then you also have like a little dash of like other colors in there. You have yellow, you have kind of these darker colors here. Arguably the white can also work as like its own accent as well. So this actually does break that rule. It feels like it's kind of 50-50 with like the blue and the green with like little touches of other colors too. But if you kind of like if you like blur your eyes, if you unfocus your eyes, you can kind of see it as like, oh, the white is kind of part of the blue. Let's see do I have other artworks that have this rule? Not really, but this is more of like it's like kind of a design thing too, that like you want one dominant color. I actually just saw like a tweet that was talking about like VTuber design, and like if you want a good color scheme for your VTuber or your PNGTuber, you should have one dominant color and then like the rest are kind of following this ratio. But once again, not a hard and fast rule. There are ways to break it creatively, right? So yeah, that's analogous. And now we're going to the opposite end. We're going to complementary. Complementary is basically very similar to analogous, except let's go back to our color wheel. This is using colors that are on opposite sides of the color wheel. So let's say that you want to use like red for the most part in your art, or if you're seeing a lot of red in the art, if you see green, that's actually the complement. Same with blue and orange, and then purple and yellow. So I think I have the schmoops paired up next to each other. Here we go. So yeah, green, red and green, orange and blue, and then yellow and purple. These are complementary. The reason why it's important to know this is because when you put them together, they actually make each other brighter. If you put like red smack dab in the middle of this green, now actually I could do it with my cursor. Look at the red. If I put it next to this red, it kind of fades into the red schmoop, right? You see my like laser pointer, right? It's red. If you put it here, it kind of fades in. Once I put it in the shaded part, look what happens when I put it in the green schmoop. Right? Like suddenly the highlighter looks a bit brighter. It almost vibrates. It's kind of intense in a way. So usually when complements are together, they make each other more brighter and vibrant. So this helps with like leading the eye in a piece of artwork. Purple and gold is classic Darkwing Duck feel. So I'm biased because I'm Californian. I associate this with the Lakers. And then this with Christmas. Red and green are Christmas colors, right? I don't have a go-to for blue and orange other than Shiny Spicy. I think there's also a team, right? Isn't there a team that is also blue and orange? But for me, as a biased Californian, these are Laker colors. Yeah, there we go. Cielo is also blue and orange. Yes, exactly. So we got Cielo, we got Christmas, and we got the Lakers. That's your hack. That's your memory trick for remembering the compliments. Most Gamebox art for a few years was blue and orange. Yes, exactly. Not even just Gamebox art, but movie posters. The reason why is because, like I said earlier, brown is kind of usually in the category of orange. It's just like desaturated. Skin color is usually also associated with orange, even though like these are two white people, right? These are two like I want to say Dutch people. Depending on like how light the skin color is, usually it's kind of like in the depth of like orange. So they use blue. A lot of movie posters and video game posters will use blue because that is the complement. It kind of like they highlight each other. One is white, the other is made of wood by the looks. Exactly, right? It's a wooden guy. We have a restaurant called Blue and Orange. It's Mediterranean. Ooh, cool. I know that the Greek flag, well, I know Mediterranean is much more than just Greece, but like my mind immediately went to like Greek, and I know their flag color is like blue. So this is a sample work of, this is an example of like complementary colors. This lady over here, this is, by the way, the Arnolfini portrait by Jan van Eyck. This is a Netherlandish, Flemish artist. It's a pretty not infamous, it's a pretty famous work. There's some like factoids here. Like apparently in the mirror, you can see the back of this couple as well as a smidge of the actual painter. Every time Jan van Eyck draws a guy, it looks like Putin for some reason. But this is also a good example of like an artwork that uses complementary colors. Because look at her dress. Her dress is like this very vibrant green, but the background is red, right? The red, and the fact that the red like bed and like the background stuff is right next to the woman in green, it helps to highlight her even more, especially her form, because as you can see, she's got a belly. We don't know, I think we talked about this before, we don't know if she's actually pregnant or if that's just the style at the time, because one of like the styles and things that we find attractive, it changes with culture and it changes in time. So like there was a time where like looking pregnant was like the thing that was like the fashionable thing. Same with you wanted to also have a high brow, so sometimes women would actually pluck the hair on their like hairline to make it look like they had a big forehead, because that was just the style. That it was the style at the time, you see. But yeah, so this red in the background is helping to highlight the green of her dress. Now that's just one example. So yeah, complementary colors. So let's go back to the color wheel. If you look at a piece of art and it only has like, let's say these three colors right here, that's monochromatic. But if it extends out to also include green, that's more analogous. And then if it's yellow with a dash of purple, then that's complementary. So those are three examples. All right, so now we're getting into the part where it's less of the technical stuff. Now it's more so the actual art appreciation. Schnackery's here. He's meowing. We're not gonna watch this whole video. This is actually a video I think I showed Hux, as well as anyone who wants to get into pixel art, really. This has been super helpful to me because it goes into how to use color. Schnackery. Yes, hue shifting. So hue shifting is a very specific technique that it's not just limited to pixel art. You also just use it in art in general. That basically helps with like making your colors pop a bit more. So I actually didn't watch this. I watched it before, but not recently. So we might have to fast forward through some parts. Let me stop the Spotify music. Oh no, it's so loud. Well, it was loud for me. I don't know if it was also loud for you guys. There we go. I think it probably was loud for you guys. I'm sorry. Sounded okay? How about now? Is it too soft right now? Very quiet? Okay, let's put it back up then. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Here we go. So when making a base color brighter or darker, the color itself should change, not just the brightness. So what that means... Oh, this is a really good tip right here. Hi, May Shark. Hello, hello. I didn't know there was BGM. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Hello, Mayshark. Hello. We're talking about color today. Our art history lesson is on color. So we went over like a whole bunch of things like complementary colors, stuff like that. Now we're looking at into pixel art. We're looking at how like pixel art can kind of help you understand color a little bit as well. So he goes over things like hue, saturation, brightness. We're not quite gonna get into that yet. You know what? Give me a second. I think I have a better way of demonstrating this. I just have to find it. Let's go to... We're actually gonna go to the Sigma grind set thing that we made for Randon. There we go. Let's fast forward all the way to color. Not saying that the video isn't a good way, but he is already going into some pretty good topics that I want to kind of like front load first. Yeah, here's the section on like color blindness, by the way. So some people don't see all of these colors. They might see the color wheel as similar to either this or this or this, and some people even see it with no color at all. But that doesn't mean that you can't make art. There's still plenty of art that this was made by someone who was colorblind. Let's go over here. This is made by someone that's colorblind. And there's also this theory that Van Gogh might have even been colorblind too, because he uses a lot of blues and yellows, which if you're colorblind, those are kind of the main colors that you see. So what was I going to get into? Oh yeah, it's the schmoop. So let's look at the schmoop over. Yeah, like grayscale. So let's say that you want to shade the schmoop. You could easily just make, you can make the shading into like a dark red, right? But what this guy is saying is that why stop there? You can also make it like more of a purple color because it's closer to like blue and purple. And then you can make the highlight, instead of just making it a light red, you can make it a color that's a little bit closer to yellow. What that does is that it adds a little bit more energy into the artwork. So this isn't a bad tutorial at all. It's just that I wanted to kind of like preface it with a little bit more information, and then we can kind of like get into what he's actually teaching. So he says here that like when you're doing your highlights, here we go. You want those highlights to be like closer to yellow. And then if you do shadow, you want it to be closer to purple. Snackery. So this is a good example. Let's say that you are working with red. If you want to make highlights, you could actually, instead of just making it a light red, make it an orange or make it even a yellow. And then I think he also goes into the other direction. Yeah, he does. Oh, this is a cool color palette. I actually like this a lot. So, and then when you shade, instead of just using a dark red, you could use something closer to purple. Now to see this in action, this is kind of what it looks like if you just make the colors into like I said, light red or dark red. So you can do this. There's nothing wrong with doing this, but if you hue shift, here we go. If you hue shift, if you make that highlight into more of a yellow and the shadow into a purple, this is what it looks like. Same with blue. Let's see what he has to say about it. Yeah, like look at his artwork. It's pretty cool. There we go. Yeah, so if we compare these two, this is fine, right? Like, he even says that sometimes if you want to go for something that's more monochromatic, monotone, that's fine if that's what you're going for. But if you really want to bring the colors out, then you use hue shifting. To like I said, instead of a light red, you have an orange or a yellow. Instead of a dark blue, this guy's using purple. And he actually goes even further. I'll let the video play. Yeah, so there we go. We have the three over here. He also got, like I said, he does that extra step of kind of reducing the amount of colors, which that seems like it should just be like a pixel art thing, but you can also use that in traditional and other digital art as well. I like when he shows the work on CRT. Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite pixel artists too, because he does that all the time. He makes really cool artworks. I don't think he does it for this video, but we can look actually. Let's look at his other works. My favorite is the one where he does one tone. Let's see. We could just like pick one. Let's pick this one. Does he do it? Does he do the... Yeah, he does! So this is what he ends up with. And then he puts the work over here. On a CRT. It's so cool. Because the thing with CRT is that it actually smooths out some of the pixels and colors. It just makes the transition a little bit more smooth, basically, for lack of a better term. The extra step is useful for game design and trying to save space for the final export. That's another thing to think about as well, right? Having a reduced color scheme, it works on a technical standpoint with what Gojikin said, but it's also a good habit to have in art in general, because then it feels a little bit more cohesive, kind of like that word that I use for analogous colors. It's a bit more like put together. It's not so scattered, and that's not to say that you can't make really amazing work with like 20 billion colors. But at least when you're like first starting out, it is good to kind of start with like a reduced color palette. That's also a really good way to practice too, is like, can you make artwork with only 3 colors total, right? So yeah, so his videos are super helpful in general. So now we get to the part where we're just going to be looking at a whole bunch of artists that I think use color in a really interesting way, and you guys are also free to recommend other artists as well. I see we have the same art algo. I got a bunch of tweets about how pixel art shown in indie games doesn't actually fit the nostalgia because CRTs because it's not pixelated. Yes, we do have the same algo. It's the one of that guy, right? That's like, actually, like, pixel art is what is it? It's recreating a style that never existed because CRTs would actually smooth out a lot of those transitions. Common exercise I like to do is trying to build stuff like stream overlays using extremely limited color. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, that's also like just a really good design thing in general too. CRT screens were fuzzy. Yeah, it's really cool to see the difference. I don't have the tweet off the top of my head or on hand, but it was a really cool one. Yeah, the scan lines, exactly. The Dracula example, yeah, where the eyes glow, right? Because once again, I don't have it like on hand, but there's a pixel art of Dracula from Castlevania, and his eye is literally just one pixel. It's one red pixel, but when you put it in a CRT and it kind of blurs it, it looks like his eyes are glowing. So it's a really cool effect. But yeah, this is I wanted to start off with a pixel artist because we just talked about pixel art, right? So this is Abuelo Retro Wave. They just make really cool pixel art. It's a little bit, it's like on a bigger scale, but look at how his color schemes are kind of pretty reduced. It's mostly, it depends on how it looks here, but it's mostly like purple and yellow. It's those complementary colors, right? The Laker colors. And then this one is really cool. To his credit, it's also very much inspired by Sailor Moon. The backgrounds for Sailor Moon. Oh, let me put the music back on. I forgot about that. This is based off Sailor Moon, but the way that he translated it into pixel art is also really pretty. I wish I could dither like that. Oh yeah, so dithering is totally a thing with pixel art as well. Dithering is I don't quite know how to explain it. It's like using it's like alternating the colors in a way that kind of makes like a really cool transition. I think I've demonstrated it before with my pixel art program, but I don't have it up at the moment. But yeah, dithering is really cool. So good, we now have a good overlay shaders that recreate the look on the panels. Ooh, cool. Yeah, making a gradient out of dots. Exactly. Yeah, this is Abuelo Retro Wave. Really cool stuff. And then this is another artist I like. She does more traditional. I think she uses like gouache, highlighter, ink, all of those things. Their name is Dakesy Karen. If they don't have a date, it means that they're contemporary. Like they are currently still making art. But we are going to get to some artists that are like more historical. Actually, give me a second. Cool. So yeah, this is Dakesy Karen's work. As you can see, she has like some like really like, how do I say this? Super vibrant colors. I think she does it with ink. She uses a lot of ink, which if you ever decide to go into like traditional art and you want to test out ink, I would recommend getting into watercolor first, because like working with ink, it's like a less forgiving watercolor, but it's also more vibrant, and it's more yeah, the colors are just kind of nicer in a way. You can see her palette here. I think this is her gouache. It's called like jelly gouache or something. Me, traditional? Never. Traditional art is pretty cool, but it is like, you do need the space for it. I've been wanting to do like traditional art streams. Like I have a lot for watercolor. I have a lot of watercolor things, but I just don't have the space for it. Yeah, it's an investment. It's an investment. There's pros and cons to it, right? I feel like digital is a little bit better if you're still getting into art, because then like you don't feel like you're for me at least, it was like, oh, I don't want to waste paper, right, by putting like really crappy sketches on it. So it's better to do digital, because then I could just erase it. You could Control Z, that kind of stuff. But other people, like they might actually prefer traditional more, because like it just feels like there's differences in texture too. No mistakes, just happy accidents. Happy little accidents. Exactly. Happy little trees via wet on wet. Yeah, man, I love Bob Ross. Okay, I feel my voice starting to go, so we are gonna move on a little bit. But like I said, do let me know if you guys have any other artists that you want to recommend that you think use color in an interesting way. So who's oh no, I didn't mean to do that. What have I done? To go to, here we go. I meant to proceed to the next slide. Okay, so this is another contemporary artist who you might see on Twitter. They also sell merch at places like Anime Expo. Their name is Liliums. They have a very kind of like friendly art style. Oh, you know what? This is what I was gonna bring up before. A color scheme that wasn't listed before. You know, we talked about monochromatic. We talked about analogous, complementary. Another one is there's so many other color palettes out there, but one that I am personally a fan of is primary colors. Remember how we talked about how red, yellow, blue, those are primary colors, right? Here you see that in this artwork over here by Liliums. Not all the time, but usually if you use primary colors as the main color palette for your work, it kind of gives it a kid-friendly or like a nostalgic or just like a very welcoming vibe. Like if you look at the way that Liliums uses colors here, it's very welcoming. Like, and I don't want to say like I say kid friendly. I feel like if I say like childish, that gives like a negative connotation. I mean it in a positive way. Like it's very like friendly to a wider audience, including kids. My favorite is Zorn palette. What's that? Let me look it up. The Zorn palette. Ooh. So this is what we got. So it's like a yellow, red, black with a little bit of white too. Oh, cool. That's really nice. To me, this reads as very kind of earthy. Like earthy without the green. It's very interesting. He swapped the Z and the B. No. Not in the classroom. No. Black, white, red, yellow, sepia. If you remember John Blanche stuff I recommended for Appreciation a while ago. Yeah. That makes sense. So thank you for sharing that. That's another really good example, right? Of a certain color palette that's not necessarily analogous or complementary. So yeah, for me, this is one of my favorites. I love like the primary color palette a lot. I'm trying to think of a time that I used it. Oh, technically this outfit that I'm wearing. Technically it's kind of primary. Instead of red, it's pink. But yeah, like my current outfit is kind of meant to be that color scheme too. So yeah, it kind of gives off like more of a friendly, like nostalgic feel to it. I think she uses color in a very interesting way. And as you can see, yeah, it's primary except like CMYK. Exactly. And yeah, even though like this work isn't exclusively red, yellow, blue, like there's a little bit of green in there. There's also different shades of blue, right? There's a light blue, there's a bit more of like a saturated blue. The way that it's presented and put together is just very like nostalgic and friendly. You got the little bun here. I love the little bun. Alright, now we're going to get into some historical artists that I really like. So we're going to be looking at two artists from the Philippines that are my top favorites. This is Vicente Manansala. He's a Filipino artist that was active around the 50s to the 80s. And I think the way that he uses color is really cool. He is more of a cubist, so he goes more into like shape. But like his use of color is also really nice. Like this is also another primary color palette if you notice. So overall it's very yellow, right? But there's also like, actually, you know what, this follows the 60-30-10 rule pretty well. Overall it's yellow, right? If we're also counting like the skin tone, which is a little bit more orange. But then there's also blue, but there's touches. There's little touches of red, right? Here's one red right smack dab in the blue. There's more red here, but it's not as much as the blue and the yellow. There's also a little bit of green too. Green, white, brown, all these other colors. But overall, it is kind of a primary color palette. It is very yellow, blue, red. So in this case, it's not necessarily being used to be like childlike or nostalgic. Maybe nostalgic, but it is more so to kind of highlight certain things. Like there's like a red bird here to kind of create interest, right? The skin tone, it contrasts more against like the yellow of the hat and the background. So yeah. He also has other works, which I reviewed before. I am now interested in Redbird. Yeah, there we go. Like that's the thing, is that it actually, like, having that little splash of color does actually create interest in a piece of artwork as well. So this is another Filipino artist. He's a little bit older. And he's a little bit, I guess, like, how do I say this? Like, he is an amazing artist and he uses color in a very interesting way, but he's also kind of like vanilla in a way, because he's one of the artists that's kind of like commissioned by like the country itself, by like, he's like a nationalist artist. Like, his art is very Philippines. And I think it was to the point where he was even commissioned by like the president to make more art that's like, yeah, look at how Philippine, it's yeah, very traditional. Exactly, Robbie, exactly. It's, his art is very traditionalist. Isn't necessarily, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. There is, like, you know, some baggage that does come with being like a bit more nationalistic in a place like the Philippines, but like I won't get too much into that. His work is very traditional. I think that's an excellent way to say it. Hello, Annoyed Apricot. Hello, welcome. Thank you for the raid, and welcome. We're doing a little bit of education. First time chatter. Thank you, Annoyed Apricot. Hello, welcome. Hello, Peachy Poops. Welcome. Thank you for, and thanks, Matthew, for shouting them out. So you're playing Path of Exile. Hello, welcome. Nice. Thanks for joining us. Let me know how your stream was, but if you also have to raid and run, I completely understand. If you want to stick around, we're actually doing a little bit of art appreciation. We were talking about color earlier. Like different ways that like we look at color, stuff like that. But right now we're kind of at the tail end of things, and we're looking at artists that use color in an interesting way. So if you guys know of any artists that you want to recommend that use color in interesting ways, let me know. We can take a look at it. My voice is starting to give out, but I think if I take a little bit of a break, I should be good. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. You need to BRB, but I'll be here after to learn. Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Let's say hi to everyone that came in with you. So let's see. We got Annoyed Apricot themselves. We got Peachy Poops. What a cute name. We got Your Saver. Hello. Welcome. But yeah, thanks. If any, that not just to Annoyed Apricot, but if any of you guys need to rest, no worries. I completely understand. But thank you again for the raid. All right, let's go back to where we were. We were talking about colors. We were looking at, no, there we go. We were looking at like pixel artists. We were looking at this traditional artist, Dixie Karen. For digital artists, I recommend a friend, Layden Sigdom. I'm gonna copy paste that. Apricot is learning how to draw. I'm a digital artist, but I don't do anything interesting with color. It's okay. I'm definitely still learning as well. I would not call myself like, you know, a super skilled artist yet. I like to draw, you know, little small creatures, you know, like myself. Like the little avatars that you might see on the floor right now. Yeah, I like to draw little creatures. But, you know, it's always fun to learn about these things, right? Yeah, and for everyone that just joined in, we do have a 1-point challenge redeem to make a sticker show up on screen. And it's all based off of Filipino snacks and treats. Hello, Zeboa. Hello. Welcome. Let's see. Iniro is one of my favorite artists. I love how they color. Let's take a look. Iniro. Or Iniro. Oh, cool. Yeah, we could look at these artists. I'm just bringing up their social media so we can look. We can take a good look. Nice, you guys got your stickers. So we were talking about the traditional artists, and then we started to move into this is a contemporary artist, Liliums. She also makes really cool products that are sold at like anime conventions. I was talking about how they use like primary colors, so red, yellow, blue, and it's kind of very welcoming in a way. Their Twitter is ESKBL. Okay, thank you. Let me see. Do I have the right one? Yes, I do. Thank you. We'll take a look at them after I get through some artists on my little slideshow here. But thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Oh, you like them? Nice, nice. Yeah, I really like Lilium's. Their art style just feels very like welcoming, a little bit nostalgic too. There's a Filipino artist. I do tend to like include like Filipino artists too because I'm Filipino American. And I like studying their art as well. So this is from Vicente Manansala. He was active around the 50s up until his death in the 80s. And then a little bit earlier is that we were just talking about before you guys entered is Fernando Amorsolo. He's from the 20s to the 70s, so a little like a teensy bit before Manansala. Around the same time. Around the same time though. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, that is Lilium's. That is Lilium's. I love the stickers from their shop. I want to sticker bomb something with them. Yeah! And their plushies too. They have such a cute little plushie. I love it. So yeah, this is Fernando Amorsolo. He is also like a very traditional painter. He shows a lot of scenes of like Filipino life from around, well, not really from this time period. It's kind of like an idealized version of the Philippines because it's like people who are doing hard labor, but they're also dancing the tinikling and they're also like, you know, having fiestas at the end of the workday, which they definitely might have, especially in like the provinces. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of like toil like depicted. It doesn't look like they're really like, oh god, working the rice fields from sun up to sundown, you know? Yeah, it's very energetic. It's very energetic, right? But yeah, his style is very cool. I like it. If you also look at some of his landscapes, they have these really pretty sunset colors too. Right, who is next? Oh, we got some like Western artists. So Henri Matisse, he's known for using colors in a very interesting way. I think he's associated with I think it's him. Let me look it up really quickly. Yeah, so there was this movement called Fauvism. Fauve, like I don't speak French, but from what I read, fauve, it means like something like the beasts or the wild people, the fauves. Hold on, I'm doing some yeah, the wild beasts. Here we go. And this is the same artwork. Because the way that they painted it for Europeans back then, or for like at least for French folks back then, this was kind of wild. Like, why would you use colors that aren't really there, right? Why did you put green on this woman's face? Why did you use like blues and purples and all of these colors, right? For them it was like so wild. Which like depending on like how you see it as well, to you it might also be wild, but to you it might be like it's nothing. It's just like expressive, you know? But back then this was called like the beastly style, the style of the beasts. And it was because he was kind of experimenting with you know, we were talking about hue shifting earlier. Instead of using like let's say that her hat was originally black, maybe he chose blue because it was the closest color to black, and instead of using a black color for the shading, he used a darker blue and a purple and a little bit of red. He was kind of experimenting with this idea that we were talking about of like hue shifting, right? And instead of using like a skin color, they were using this like green color as well. So he was doing a lot of experimentation with color, for sure. For sure. And this is around like the 1900s, by the way. There's another historical artist, but from America. This is Edward Hopper. We looked at this artwork before, actually. This is called Chop Suey. And he just uses color in a very interesting way because it helps to lead the eye, right? Like we were talking about complementary colors earlier. Green and red are complementary. So look at the colors that this woman is wearing. She's wearing a green outfit, but look at those red lips. It helps draw the eye, right? Like especially it's contrasted with like her very pale skin too. When you look at this painting, like what are some other things that pop out, right? So like for me, the vibrant red of like the chop suey sign, the bright yellow of like the windowsill. White woman jump scare. Right? She is very pale. Like, Which doesn't work in the favor of like the ruby red lips, right? But yeah. So in my opinion, they also use color in a very interesting way as well. I think that's actually the last one that I have to show before we go into the ones that you guys recommended for me. For me, it's the vampire in the middle of the frame. I assume the two in the rear table are slayers. Yeah, there you go. So, is this really chop suey or is it vampire hunting 101? Alright, this is the last one that I recommend for my personal list. This is Hiroshi Nagai. I think he's still active, but as you can see, his style is very kind of like 1980s inspired and contemporary to the 1980s. I haven't really done as much research on Hiroshi Nagai, but he's known for also making album covers for like pop music. Yeah, exactly, Gojikins. Record jackets. Exactly. So he makes that kind of art. And as you can see, like, his actually kind of reminds me of a Bolo art, where it's like, this is kind of actually, if you think about it, it looks like it's a lot of colors, right? Like, if we look at this gradient of blue to purple to like a light purple, and then there's some greens and yellows. But if you I don't know, if you take a Mike's hard look at it, a nice long look at it, some of the colors kind of mix together in a way that makes it look like it's less colors. So the blue and the purple kind of melt together into this violet. The green and the brown in the tree is actually very dark, so it actually reads as more of a purple as well. And then you have this water. You have like the the surrounding pool area, which like this could be white, especially when it's lit up, but because it's in the dark, it reads as purple. So we have this purple, and then look at the color of the buildings. They have this like golden light. So this kind of also works as like a complementary piece too, or a piece with complementary colors. So he also uses colors in a very interesting way too. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh no, I'm dropping frames. No, sorry if there's like any lag, basically. Okay, you guys, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's look at the artist that you guys recommended. However, my voice is starting to go a little bit, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put this up, but let's take a break. I thought it was me. Oh no, especially because the frames are dropping. We're gonna take a little bit of a break. All right, I'm gonna set an ad to run, and then when we get back, we'll finish up. And just in case my frames are still breaking up, I'm gonna type it in chat too. Take a short 1 to 2 minute break. Rest my voice, and then take a look at the artist y'all recommended before ending it off. Okay, so I'll be right back. Yeah, time for water, exactly. Alright, I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'll put you guys out in the yard. Actually, to rest my voice a little bit more, do you guys want to play some basketball? Beans is laughing. Here you go. While I rest my voice, let's play some basketball. Or chat, you guys can play basketball. I'm gonna rest. So I'm gonna mute. If no one else joins, I'll join the red team. But you guys go ahead. You guys go ahead. Oh, there we go. Cielo joined. Okay, gonna mute for maybe 2 more minutes. Alright, good job, y'all. Good job. Kochi, I'm so sorry. Oh no. I just saw that 0-1. Good job, y'all. Good job, though. And I saw the comment that she releases us. It's like I'm releasing you guys out into the wild. Alright, kids. Teacher needs a drinky from her special juice. So you guys go play in the raggedy fields. Nice job, Green Cat. Yeah, good job. Good job. Alright. It's time to come back in from recess. Ring, ring, ring. Nice. Cool. I was able to recover my voice a little bit. I was also watching Beans. He's playing hold on. He's playing Fallen Aces, and I asked him like, what kind of game is it? The way he described it is it's a you see, but a shooter. Like that's his exact words. It's a you see. Had a couple of close ones, but turns out I was on delay a little further than I thought. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I think it's probably the drop frames. I'm so sorry. Hello, Annoyed Apricot. Hello, hello. So let's take a look at the artists that you guys recommended. So Sigdom and Iniro. I kind of want to look at this one, but if you guys are squeamish with like bugs, especially like centipedes, you might want to either click off, or you can put me into like, you know, listening only podcast mode, whatever they call it. So I think the colors on this one are really interesting. So I'm gonna click on it in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Let's actually start off with Iniro, and then we'll go into Sigdom afterwards. Hello, beeplebees. Hello. You came in just at the right time. Where we are starting to end off. We'll probably finish within the next 15 minutes or so. But we're taking a look at artists that use color in an interesting way. So Chicago becoming Italian American. No, Matthew. It's a Mario, see, but a shooter. That's all you need to know. Man, if you guys are squeamish about bugs, I take no offense if you need to click off or anything like that, or put me on podcast mode. No worries. But yeah, this is a sample work from Iniro, also known as ESKBL. I think what drew my attention is how they do the borders between the shadows and the midtones. So look, their hair is blonde, right? This character, it's blonde. And then this is the shadow, right? And there's also some shadows within the shadows. Look at the border. They have a little bit of, I don't know if the wording is like rim light or if it's something else, but it's almost like a super saturated, it kind of reflects how light actually reflects on things. You also see it on skin. Like if you put your hand, if you have like a bright light, or if you want to use the sun, I guess, or if you have like a super bright fluorescent light and you hold your hand up against it, you can kind of see like the loose flaps of your skin, I'm doing it right now. Like the skin in between your fingers, it gets a little bit more illuminated by light, so it's a little bit more of a saturated red. So that's a good way to actually like show rim lighting in art, is to make it really saturated, but only on certain edges. A little guy that lives within you. Subsurface scatter. Yeah, exactly. It's that subsurface scattering. That, I think that's the technical term for it. But that's reflected here in kind of like the border between the midtones and the shading. What I like too is I really like this. This creates a lot of interest for me. The highlight, that they could have easily went with like white, right? But instead they chose this really fluorescent green yellow. I don't know. It just adds a lot of interest because wait, I'm wondering now. It starts to get a little bit into complementary. It's more of a yellow. I guess your mileage can vary. It's like a highlighter yellow to me, but others might also see it as more of a green, right? And green is complementary with red. Yellow is complementary with orange. This skin tone is kind of like that. So it really stands out because it kind of is like complementary in a way. Same with the eyes. Look at the way that they did the eyes. Once again, they could have just gone with white. They even could have gone with like this lighter color right here. But no, they actually chose for, if you let's actually zoom in. I want you guys to see like the colors that they use for shading the eye. It's blue. If you really zoom in, they actually use like a periwinkle blue with a little bit of gray. That for one like makes the eye seem a little bit rounder, and when you zoom out, it's not that noticeable, but it still has that effect. It's really cool. It's really cool. I like it. My god. Yeah. yeah. And then sorry, we're gonna zoom into the centipede. So once again, if you're a little squeamish, this might be the time to click off. But let's look at the centipede, because they do put some highlights here, right? And some shading and highlights. But look how they choose different colors all the way through. They choose like a bright blue here, this green that is very similar to the one on the face, and then the blue again, and also a little bit of red that mixes in with the midtone. It's very subtle, to the point where if you zoom out, it almost seems like they did it in painterly style, but no, it's actually just like the way they use color is like very subtle, but it mixes together very well. This person's suffering from a stomach bug. I think so. I think so. There's even the little dabs of blood here. Yeah, and there's another example of the subsurface scattering, both here and on the face. Very cool. Very cool stuff. I see an arrow here. Oh, there's more. Oh, and there's the design for this character. Very cool. Very cool. If you guys also want to check out this work for yourself, I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, very cool, like, use of color here, too. Like, this looks like Link, right? This is Link from Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Or both. But another example is, I'm just gonna zoom in on the eye. Like, from far away, it's just blue, right? But take a close look. You see a little bit of purple here. That, as subtle as it is, also creates interest. So very cool. Nice, nice. Alright, now let's move on to Sigdom. I was actually having trouble picking out like one specific one to take a look at because I don't know, there's a lot. Same with the other artists that we were just looking at. SBL. I was having trouble like finding just one because all their artwork is really cool. If you want to look at this artist alongside me, I'll put that in the chat as well. This is their Instagram. Let's look at this one. An Eldritch Knight Tiefling that has a very cool looking armor. I agree, because look at the, for one, I think, would you say this is doing the 60-30 rule? It's overall like very dark, but the pink of the skin, for one, that's such a cool color for a tiefling. I've been trying to develop my OC that I keep on mentioning to you guys, who's also a tiefling, and I was racking my brain on like what skin color I should give them. And I'm like, dang, pink is an option. Pink is in fact an option. So for one, the pink does a really good job of like contrasting with the overall kind of like dark and kind of it's a little bit more neutral colors. Overall neutral, right? Even the hair is kind of brown. But let's see if we can, oh, I don't think I can zoom in. No, I wanted to zoom in. I wanted to bring attention to the armor, because from far away, it just looks like dark, right? Dark black colors, but the more you look at it, like it's like galaxy colored. There's even a sheen to it. There's let's see, you see like purple, blue, green, and then there's little microcosms of those colors too. There's a little bit of green here with a little bit of yellow. Them's be stars in there. Yeah, exactly. This also builds interest. So if they just went with black armor, brown clothing, and like black clothing as well, this would already be an excellent color scheme because the pink brings it all out. It contrasts really nicely. But they went they went the extra mile, and they also added kind of like this galaxy motif to the armor, which adds even more interest. And in fact, all of the red and the purple complements the pink really well too. There's that, and I want to look at, oh, this is hard. These are all really nice. I think I'm gravitating towards this one. This kind of reminds me of Hades, the art style for Hades. Not quite, it's not quite one-to-one. I think it's the fact that they use black for the shading. I think that's what's reminding me of it. This is for Art Fight as well. Ivoire. Eldritch Knight, raised by pirates. Cool, very cool. So I think what I like here is we were talking about color schemes near the middle of the presentation, right? And we were talking about like analogous, as in like they're right next to each other in the color wheel. This looks pretty analogous to me, because we got like the pink, which is a pink that's a little bit closer to red, and then we got the purple, which is a little bit closer to blue. So these are kind of actually opposite, like they're not opposite, but how do I say this? Let's go to the color wheel. Let's go to the color wheel to show you what I mean. Go back to the past. Samurai Jack. So here, the cape is this color, and the what's the rest of it? The smoke is more of a purple, which is this color. So they're both like purples in a way, or they're both kind of like bordering this purple color, but different ends. It's like this is the warmer and this is the cooler version. Say, hold on, Jack. Yeah, watch out. So what's in between them is a little bit more of like an actual purple. We do start to see those colors like here in the shadow of the hair. And then here, there's a little bit more blue. So this is very analogous. It is broken up here in the middle with the white. It looks white to me, but it's actually a bit more of a yellow outfit plus the darker skin. But these actually contrast with each other very well too. Overall, there's like a bit of like a purple hue to everything. Always look for secret eyes in Sig's art. Ooh, secret eyes. Maybe this shape over here of the hair. Oh, here. Look at like the swirls. Secret eyes. That's very cool. Is that like a hidden Mickey? Is that something that they always incorporate? Oh, this is a nice close-up. This is very cool. They have a habit? That's a fun little thing to like include as an artist, to have like a little secret like eye or secret Mickey to like look into. Oh, you know what I just realized? So we were talking about how this is pink, purple. What's the complement to purple? Laker colors. Yellow. So this could be white, but it is reading more of like a brown, like an off-white. And then there's also gold. Gold is also a complement to that purple. Spot all the bears in BINKA art. I should do hidden bears. Yeah, you're right. Even when I do like random art. Like, I should do like little hidden bears, you know? That's a good idea. But yeah, so we have some complementary tones here too. So we have like the shirt as well as the gold. Arguably the skin color as well. It's a little warm. Like it's supposed to be gray, right? But it's also reading as warm to me. So we have like it's analogous here, but then you also have a little bit of complementary as well. So yeah, very cool, very cool. Random bears on a random tie. Exactly. So yeah, I could go for more, but you know, I do want to go ahead and rest my voice. So I think we'll go ahead and go all the way to the end. So that is my spiel on color. There's so much more that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of research for work about color in like ancient cultures, in like indigenous cultures. I wanted to include that too, but I didn't want it to be too long because I knew that my voice would give out too. So so thanks guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Let's mosh, shall we? Let's mosh. And then we'll raid into someone. We'll see who we can raid into. For those who are new, we do have a tradition where we do an end of class and end of stream mosh pit. To participate, Color Stream 2, Electric Boogaloo, maybe actually. Open up the pit. Yeah, if you're new, we do a little mosh pit. How to participate? You just pick an emote and you spam it in chat. As you notice, if you put emotes in chat, it generally appears on screen. It was a wonderful stream. Thank you. I also have a chat command where all of your little avatars are gonna mosh with each other. That's RNG. There's no way to control them. They kind of just fight on their own. It's not rigged. As much as people will say that it's rigged, it's not rigged. I swear. You have to believe me. It's not rigged. It's not. Thanks for the stream. Yeah. If you guys got to sign up, go ahead. But if you want to stay for the mosh pit, I decided to pick colors from Code Geass, but metal. So let's go ahead and stop the Spotify. As soon as you hear the music, go ahead and spam whichever emotes you want. In the meantime, I'm gonna decide who to raid into. But yeah, let's do it. Oh, from the beginning. You guys ready for some Jibunwo? Open up the pit. Nice, let's go, Cielo, let's go. Well, guess what? You're gonna have to defend the title. Because we're doing round 2. I think we're probably gonna have like 3 rounds. Blood and thunder. It's Yellow again. She's the defending champ. They're the defending champ. Rigged? It's not rigged. We have enough time. Yeah, we have enough time for another round. You ready, Cielo, to defend your title? 3 for 3? 3 for 3. Is Cielo the new goat? We'll see. We shall see. Ooh, some people are getting the health packs. Yeah, Annoyed Africa got the purple guy. Yeah, right? Oh, it's beeplebees versus Annoyed Apricot. Who's gonna get it? Beeplebees just got a health pack. Oh. Oh, okay. Beeplebees, you got it. Annoyed Apricot, you were so close though. It's okay, it's okay. You'll get him next time. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's just how it goes. That's how the cookie crumbles. But good job. And thanks again, Annoyed Apricot, for the raid, by the way. Thank you. Alright, we are going to raid into Vitehide, actually. I feel like it's been a minute since we raided into him. And I don't know like how many people know this, but he has a really cool like live 2D model now. So we're gonna raid into. He's playing Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, so feel free to check it out. Let's go ahead and raid into him. And thanks everyone for dropping in. I really love doing these little classes with you guys. It's really fun. So thank you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Bye-bye. Yeah, Rivian's is his papa. Yeah, exactly. The one that he got from the Rippler. Exactly. Alright, we're gonna raid. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Love ya. Mwah.